Hi guys, welcome back to the Next Step Fitness podcast. Today we're on episode 4 and I'm joined by a good pal of mine, John Fitz. So John is a very good coach, one of the fellas leading the line in Kerry. He's a physique competitor and a YouTube content creator. So John, welcome to the podcast. Do you want to tell the
Hey,
people a bit about
thanks
yourself?
thanks for having me, Jenny, man. It's good to be on. So I'm John Fitz. I am a physique athlete, and I was on prep during before COVID happened, and I got pulled from my shows by my coach. I actually think he was probably the first coach to pull all his athletes from the shows, because I was pulled earlier on because he took Aoife, my daughter's health into play, so just in case that the shows did go on, and I caught it and came home with, came to Aoife or thing. So he put my family's health and my health first before anything. But I'm also a personal trainer in Tree Arena and Newcastle West, and I also do online and just a bit of YouTube on the side.
That's great, yeah, because I know a lot of people from being at Tralee as well follow you for your physique and just the stuff you put out. So I think a lot of people would be interested in like how you got into fitness when you were younger, like how it all started for you and how you found out that bodybuilding or coaching was something you wanted to do.
Yeah, so I think like a lot of I was just small and skinny, man, and if I got into a fight, I would have been thrown around the place. And I remember like my brother, he was kind of the like soccer player in the family and the footballer. He was the kind of the sport fella. And I was just like, he had a bench, and I always remember like I was like, no matter what, even if I was small and skinny, I just had this a bit of power behind me. So I was always kind of good at bench, like kind of not the greatest, not the best at other things, but bench was kind of my thing. So he had a bench, and I remember one summer it was just like you know them York benches I say everyone has back
Yeah.
in the day. He had that in the shade, and I just kept on using that, and I actually got quite addicted. So like I go down and it said it'd be like 30 kilos in the bar, and I get it for 10. Like I'm getting that for 12 now next week, or I'm getting that for 14 now next week. So it kind of went on from there. And then I was done. My dad bought me my first gym membership, and then when you go to the gym, no clue what to do. Went in, probably did every body part 7 days a week, no rest. Didn't take any supplements, no food, no nothing like that, no knowledge. And if I could go back time, the one thing I do would definitely be read books about nutrition and coaching, and I think that was just like my worst mistake I probably did, was not read or just kind of went to the gym and seen people do things and then copy them. And then as I kind of got more into it, I joined a powerlifting club when I was younger, and I was kind of my weight. I was small, but I was a small bit stocky, but my weight was kind of low, so I was always like just 70 kilos, 71 kilos, and I had a bit of power on the bench. So like they used to throw me into competitions, and then I just kept on kind of winning. Then I remember like when I was like 75 kilos, like I think I got like 150 for one, and that was it. Then yeah. And it was only like, I think it was only a few weeks ago that I benched like 160 for one. And that was like years later, But saying that, like I think many young fellas do these days, I made like every mistake underneath the sun, man. When I was younger, like I went from training to the gym to powerlifting to being a marathon runner to under eating, just living on supplements, just living on fat burners. Literally every mistake. I could write a book, man, and it would definitely be like a bestseller for teenagers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, just because like I think everyone's been in the same situation. Like, you go to the gym first and you nearly have a full day twice a week dedicated to just training arms because you've seen it on bodybuilding.com or Athlean-X or something like that. So like, Joe, outside like the training side of things, what would have been some of the like mistakes you would have made nutrition wise? Because for me, I know when I was like third year, fifth year going to the gym, and it was like, if you didn't have your protein shake within 10 minutes of finishing the gym, like you were going to lose every bit of progress you made. Like, so I think there's a lot, I think there's a lot of like things like that. Younger fellas, especially males, don't don't really know about because the information isn't there. Like, so what would be the mistakes you made in terms of nutrition?
Oh man, there's two, like the biggest mistake I've made, or probably the second biggest, was just living on supplements, like, you know, just protein shakes after the gym, protein shake in the morning. Didn't care about food. One side of six pack, didn't care about the rest of my body. So that kind of way.
Yeah.
So there was a time then. This is like the biggest mistake. I always say to young fellas, like, I hate when they talk to me, they watch Secret Fat Burners, because I just give them this big huge. I sit down there, boy, I'm going to give you this big huge story about when I was taking. So like I was in powerlifting, and I got to a size where I didn't train legs. Like when we were in the gym, it was just bench, back, triceps. That was it. 3 times a week, 4 or 5 times. Yeah, no, it was 4 times a week, no legs, no nothing. So it was the biggest mistake as well doing that. So I got to a stage where I was just like big, broad, no definition, no nothing. So started taking fat burners. Next thing I knew, I was taking any ones I could get my hands on, you know, in shops, on the internet. I was taking like maybe 8 to 12 a day. So next thing I know, it wasn't eating, just living on fat burners, thinking like this will get me absolutely shredded. And just living on fat burners and whey protein. What it actually did, it affected my bowel and my stomach. So I was put into hospital because they both twisted, and I was pushed into surgery. So they had to remove like a bit of my stomach and a bit of my bowel. And I was like intensive care for a week with tubes up my nose, down my mouth, and things. So they are like, I don't think young fellas know the effects that something can be highly dangerous. Like, and I was taking them years ago, like when hydroxycut and loads of kind of different ones. And it was my own fault, but like, Joe, there was no one there to tell me saying that's not the wrong way to do it, like, you know. And I think like in the fitness industry, man, they're the biggest waste of money ever, like. And now even when I compete, like I have a scar going down from my belly button just below my waist. It's kind of, it's not noticeable, it's still noticeable, but it's not as noticeable as it used to be. But that's kind of like my scar that reminds me of like what supplements to take. Even now, I just take whey isolate.
Yeah.
Creatine, like, you know, I wouldn't be. Remember when I was younger, I was buying, man, be like hundreds worth, like bags of protein, creatine, test boosters, all them kind of stupid kind of things, like, you know. But that was kind of the biggest mistake, as well as saying yourself running home trying to drink that protein shake after training and all that. Like it was just you could do nearly a movie on my life of mistakes in the gym.
Yeah, I think fellas will like people will relate to that, just because it's not just some doctor, someone older telling them like this is bad or fat burners are bad. It's just someone that was actually been through it, thought it was the thing to do, and just kind of like you can show like the effects it had on you and your health, and especially like that. So, and the problem is, especially with like social media, it's easy to sell, like, you know, it has that quick fix kind of sex appeal to get shredded before holidays, and like it can be really dangerous. But look, I think there's a lot more people at the moment now who's giving out the right information and the right sort of way to do things, and I think people are getting a bit more knowledgeable on what information they know is good and what is kind of just almost trying to sell a product.
Yeah,
and you were
that's another good thing they should follow. Like what I did was unfollow just bad people in the fitness industry off Instagram and follow the kind of the good people, put the good people that put out good information, that have good knowledge, and that put out good videos, and, you know, help people rather than sell a product. Like, it's easy to get fooled into.
Oh, definitely. I think we've all been there at some stage. Like, I know when I was in school, it was the big thing was to look like Jeff Side or Ziz or someone like that, and we all know what happened to some of the people in the industry with like with their health and stuff like that. But that was never a thought in any of our heads when we were that age. Or just thinking about, oh, how can I look good for the beach or look good to impress girls or something like that. And it's kind of, if there was anything I would say to my 16, 17-year-old self, is just like, you know, just kind of focus on your health, and looking better and feeling better and building muscle becomes a lot more easier. Then like it's the non-sexy things that are actually going to make the biggest difference to you.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I think, but with young fellas as well, they want it straight away. Like
yeah,
it takes day in day out hard work, dedication.
that's a
You know, I
fact.
think they just go to the gym and that's it. But they don't bring in their sleep, their nutrition, their water intake. You know, they're kind of bigger things than just going to the gym and smashing out a workout and walking back outside the door. Like,
I know, because like it's easy to look at someone on social media and say, okay, if you do this full body workout 2 or 3 times a week, you'll get in the shape I'm in. I've been training 7 years and I'm still skinny.
yeah.
It's not that easy.
They always say to me, like, how long are you training? I'm like, I'm training around 11 years now. I'm 28, I'm 28, 29. They're like, what?
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, yeah.
Exactly. You were saying just with your training that going to the gym when you were younger and then going into powerlifting, what made you want to go down the line of bodybuilding or men's physique? What kind of
I
attracted
was
you to
all
that?
like, yeah, I was always obsessed with men's physique, man. Like, I was watching the Olympia and watching men's physique athletes. That's where I kind of wanted to be. That's where, like, my end goal was always to be a men's physique athlete. I love the style, their style of training and the way they look. And like, I remember when this year when Alan took me over as a coach and I went up to see him, and like we went up to his PT, his gym, and I took off my top and he was just like, "You're born to be a men's physique athlete." Like, the first thing he just said, "We're not even going to go for first. We're just going to go for overall." Like, he's a really good coach, Alan. Like, he tells you to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, like, there's no point even doing this, you know. So he's really good. But yeah, I remember when I was doing the powerlifting, there was a day. I remember the day I gave it up. I was running up the steps in my house and I was just out of breath, and I was like, I knew, and I had no legs either. And I remember the time, like, back when I was in school, the most popular thing was who could bench the most. And
Yeah.
now it was formed into the aesthetic look and having big legs. And I was like, oh shit, this is where people are going to catch, you know, like, so. I remember going back to the gym, man, and like 60 kg squat just absolutely crushed me, like, so. It was just mistakes that I've done along the way, and I had to rebuild everything back up again.
Yeah, and in terms of when you were competing, then let's say from how many years have you been competing now? When was your first show?
So my first show, I think it was 2017, and I placed nowhere. Like, I just got my, feet wet. But I remember coming out of the show, and I turned to Aoife and I said, I'm going to take 2 years out and I'm going to come back and show everyone. And that's what I exactly did. Took 2 years out, came back, came third and second. And then after these shows, I looked at Aoife again and she's like, she just said, you want to go for overall in first? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, I'm back into press next year. But like, I think when you do your first show, you think you're massive. So you think you're huge. But then you jump on stage and see bigger boys and you're like, oh. So I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me, was not placing or nothing, because it lit a match underneath me to show everyone that I can become a champion or be a champion. I believe in myself that I will be a champion, and I'll kind of, on top of my logbook, I write that down every day. And within 2 years, I took 2 years out to like compete, and I just worked on every one of my weak points, worked on my knowledge, what to eat, what not to eat, and then came third in Spring Classic and came second over in London. And then I said, like, this is what I want to do. Like, I know people find prep difficult, but I actually find life a bit difficult outside prep. I always prep, like, no matter what. Like, I love the mental and physical challenges of prep. So it's just a different kind of way for me. But I fell in love with it, man, so much. Like, and I hated when there were people big in the industry giving out that not to compete, that it's not good for you, it's not healthy for you. And it's like, it's your own choice. It's up to them. And then there's these big influencers saying not to compete, it's useless, it's not good for you. And that just kind of drove me mad as well. Like,
Yeah. Because I remember back in 2017, I was up at that show. I remember you were competing in the men's physique, and just seeing your physique there that like obviously I thought was unreal at the time, especially knowing the people from Tralee and Kerry that were competing compared to seeing your physique last year. Like there was no comparison between the
Yeah.
two. What would you say in terms of prep, either on the posing side of things or the training side of things, that you made the biggest change or learnt the most from, like, let's say, your first show to the ones you were doing last year?
Yeah, I think I just I just trained and ate just like when I place. It is a sickening feeling not placing. Like, you're putting in months' work and not coming nowhere. But I think that's what some people need, and that's what I needed. And I just trained it like every day, and it was constantly in the back of my head of not placing. Like, it would just drove me mad. So every time I was in the gym, that's what I used to think of if I was going for a PR or just going for a heavy set. And that's what I still think of today. Like, that's why I always go back to that day one on the stage. Training, like, the big thing about me about training is my logbook. Like, it's my Bible when I'm in the gym. I like mark down everything. Even when I'm having bad days in the gym, like, which everyone does, I'm just like, I need to get the same as last week or beat it. I rep it out. If I have to pull the bar for me loads of times, because like, I just don't stop until I try to beat loud, which, like, I'm crushed half the time. With the posing as well, people think posing is easy. It was the most difficult thing for me to start. I was like a robot. Kate Cummins even used to say it last year. She was like, "What am I going to do with you?" And I was like so stiff, and I had no rhythm, no nothing. But like that, after training sessions, I used to practice for around half an hour, 45 minutes of posing. And then this year, I was kind of a lot better at it. And then Dennis Mack, he went posing for the first time, and I was like, "Don't worry, man." I was there as well. He was like, "This is so hard." I was like, it is, but you get used to it. But yeah, I think a lot of people, when they're competing, they don't bring in their posing as much. But posing is it's so important because you show off a lot more. Like, you can, by just switching your pose to a certain amount, you show a lot more. But Kate Cummins really helped me out on that one, anyway. So
Yeah, because like, and just what you were touching on earlier there, it's something not even younger people, but I think people at all ages, male and female, is like actually learning how to train hard and train at intensity. Like
yeah,
you're saying, like trying to beat the logbook is obviously something I think every one of us do. Like, and it's something like that you're going in, and if you're going into a session and you don't have a logbook, man, it's like it's like trying to shoot
yeah,
in the dark, like you don't know what you're doing.
yeah,
But like, learning how to execute exercises and feel your muscle working and keeping it under tension is just like so important for anything you want to do. Like, it's gonna take your training to the next level, whether you just want to look better or you want to compete at the highest level you think possible for you. It's going to be so important to learn how to train hard with intent as well.
yeah. True. I think as well, like with a lot of young fellas, they're afraid to fail in the gym in front of everyone. Like, I failed, I'd say, more times than I ever did anything in the gym. Like, I constantly fail every day inside there. But I think in my head, failing is good when I'm inside the gym because it makes me stronger to come back and get it. So you kind of see young fellas, especially in the gym, afraid to try new things because they'll fail in front of friends. Like, but there's many times the boys have to pull bars off my back or get me out of underneath things, and that's what kind of sticks in the back of my head. Then it drives me mad. Like, I'll be cooking my food and talking to myself. Like, Ethan will be like, "What is wrong with you?" Like, I'm like, "Look, I failed this today." In my head, I get myself psyched up for next week. Right? So she's just like, she's engaged or weirdo.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Just inside, cooking my meals, just talking to myself.
Yeah, I think you've been there as well, because like I was living with Jared there for 2 years. Like, and obviously Jared competes as well, and just from being around people in the industry as well. After training, you know when someone failed a lift or something, you can just
Yeah,
tell by their demeanor. You just stay well clear of them. You just let them let them deal with that until the next day. In terms of content creation, I know just so much. Like, you were the first person I seen down here in Southwest Ireland and Kerry to really kind of like start putting out like YouTube vlogs and creating content outside the fitness side of things. How did that start? And was it always something you wanted to do, or was it something like you seen like the likes of Guzman or Lipset do, and you just felt like that?
yeah. Yeah, I was always kind of into watching YouTube videos, but what kind of made me start it was like a lot of young fellas would write to me and ask me about the mistakes I did in the gym or what I'm eating, what way am I training, and then one day I said like the easiest way would be just to video everything, just to blast things out, thinking it was that easy. I never had a laptop, didn't have a camera, didn't have nothing, editing software. So basically, Aoife gave me her laptop. We downloaded like a free editing software. And I remember my first time trying to edit, like I nearly had a crying with temper because I couldn't do it. It was just so annoying, like not work for me. I didn't know how to do it. I was like, how are these YouTubers doing this every week, putting out unbelievable edits, putting out all this? I found it so difficult. But then, like, in my head again, like I was not giving up about this YouTube thing. So what I started doing was just kind of um, watching tutorials and asking people how to edit. And I have a friend up in Dublin, Zach. He teaches me a lot on Premiere Pro, which is what I use now. It's quite difficult at the start. Like when I first downloaded this, it was like 20 screens in one with loads of like apps and stuff. I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do here? But he helped me along in it, and I just kind of started, practicing, and then I bought a camera. So I started with like, was it an M10? And then I switched to an M50, which I'm using now. Then I bought a mic. So I'm slowly kind of, picking things up. I think a lot of people think, oh, YouTube is easy to build. It's like so hard to build. It's like a different ball game whatsoever. And that's what I was kind of like at the start. I just wanted to throw like fitness videos and gym videos. And, after a while, that kind of got boring. And I think because a lot of people do it, and I think when you do YouTube, you have to be different and you have to be yourself. So when I started bringing in my daughter and when I started bringing Aoife, people were kind of like, oh, how's he on prep with this 2-year-old? Or when I did the first show, Robin was just born. So I was actually into prep with a newborn baby. I didn't sleep. So people are interested in that. And I started bringing in my life a bit more, to, like my family life and what I do around the house and stuff. And then that's where it kind of picked up from there. Saying that though, like it's still a growing thing. YouTube, like you probably know yourself, it's so difficult to build, and you would have people that do get lucky that go viral from one video, and you have people that will have to work every day, editing and work every week throwing out videos just to get any bit of reaction from videos and stuff like that. It's a hit and miss. You could throw one video and it can blow up, and you throw the next video, and if you're doing it for the analytics, I think you're doing it the wrong way. If you're doing it for the love of it, if you're doing it like, the main thing I would say is that when Robin's older, she can go onto my YouTube channel and look back at all the videos when she was a baby and see as I was growing up and see me and Aoife, what we were like, and I'm still not younger, like, but as young parents with her.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of drove me to keep on doing it a lot more for her as well.
Yeah, I think you mentioned there, just what I was going to say is like there's so many YouTube videos or fitness YouTube channels that just put up fitness stuff like and gym exercises, and I think that's important. Like with just you're being individual, like you're not almost being different. You're being yourself, showing your aspects of your life and everything like that, and people can relate to that a lot more. And I think it's probably something you could like even give tips to younger fellas who want to do it. They're thinking that, oh, my first YouTube video needs to be this top of the range edit production and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like that at all.
No, you always start from the bottom, man. Like when I go back and watch my first YouTube video, I was like, oh my god. I suppose every YouTuber was, you go back and to see how everything is just bad. But the main thing I wrote down, because we have like a gold board in our room, but the main thing I wrote down was to vlog every day. So if you vlog every day, and then when it's time to edit, like I think edit where the magic happens. You probably know yourself. You could have a week's worth of footage, and you can put in 20 minutes of the whole week, but it's editing that brings life, brings the video together. So I kind of like vlog everything, and then I'd sit down the days that I would go edit and just throw it on the editing software and go from there, like.
Yeah, and you can see you can see though straight away from someone's content, like are they doing it just to try and get views, or are they doing it because they love making videos and love,
Yeah.
creating content, or have a story to tell? And you said that, like, if you're doing it just for like the views or the analytics, like you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like I wouldn't be doing vlogs or anything, but I something, one of my hobbies and I love doing is just doing videos and creating edits and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, and like you never do it just for it to go viral or anything. You do it because you just like look back on it like 12 months later and you'll be like, geez, that was a fun time there. I went for a weekend in Paris or something like that. It's nice to see a video compared to the pictures.
It
Like,
is, yeah.
so I think
It's
that's a,
so, and I think like there's so many young fellas in Sri saying like they used to come up even to like Dan Martell or myself and they're like, I want to start YouTube, but I think my friends will laugh at me. Like I'm like, if there's one thing I should have did longer was start YouTube from day one when I walked into the gym. Like I said, look, your friends will first they'll laugh at you and then they'll ask you questions and then they start joining in with you. Like when I go to the gym now, like the lads know I walk in the camera, they know what to hold this, what angles to do. Podge, when I train with Podge and Liam, I can hand them the camera, they'd walk around, they're professional cameramen by now, like,
yeah,
and then you have some people just stand there, you're like, no, just walk around me slowly to get all the angles. But yeah, your friends will get used to that after a while. Like,
yeah.
if anyone, young fellas are listening to this and they want the YouTube, just go for it straight away. Like,
Yeah, I think it's the same with like any piece of content. It took me years, even being a personal trainer, to get like, to just stop worrying about like what people would say, like, if you were doing like video stories or putting up videos or talking in front of camera or just like putting up a post about fitness, like, and like once you get over that internal barrier, because you're the only one that's putting that barrier in front of you, like, life becomes so much easier. Like you realize like anyone that you're really good friends with, like, are really good friends, like, are going to support you in what you do, like, and
yeah,
anyone that kind of doesn't like that kind of stuff, or not really into it, you kind of drift away, and you kind of go towards people who are on kind of like the same goals as you, like, you have the same interests in whatever industry you're in or part of life, and it's just everything becomes so much more fun and easier to do when you just kind of like just say fuck it really and just
yeah.
do what you want to do, like.
Yeah, we're allowed cursing your channel, like.
It's not a
I'm
family.
holding them all in.
It's not a family friendly channel.
Yeah. Got my daughter listening to this in years.
So in terms of
Yeah.
coaching now, I know you're personal training out of the arena, Newcastle West, and in Tralee, and you're doing online coaching as well. Was outside of physique, was coaching something you've wanted to do from the get-go, or did it something that come later on?
Yeah, like personal training is I love personal training. Like I love just one-to-one training, chatting with them, breaking down all the exercises and seeing them hit PRs is like the best feeling in the world. Coaching them, like, to be honest, I would say a year or 2 years ago, when I was people doing online coaches, I just didn't think I was good enough to do online coaches because there's people throwing out amazing transformations. And like, I didn't really believe in myself, which was probably the most stupidest thing ever. And then like, if you threw me into a building site, I wouldn't know what to do. But if you threw me into a room with a person and said, write them out and design them out a nutrition guideline and put them through a workout, there and then I'll do it. Like, so I just kind of said to myself, like, this is the only thing I know is nutrition, training, and supplements. It's the only thing I did basically all my life. So, you know what? I just bit the bullet, went for it, and it was probably the best thing that I ever did, because what it led me to was to do a lot more courses online, read a lot more books, and learn more. And, even like reading yourself in Jared's posts, getting talking to Dennis about it. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to learn as much as I can from people. Like, I wouldn't be afraid to ask a person, if I seen a person doing exercise that I'd ever seen in the gym before, I wouldn't be afraid to walk up to them and say, can you show me that there? Even if it's just a normal person, I'm a personal trainer going to this, I wouldn't be afraid to ask a person, oh, can you teach me this, sir? Because I think if you think you know everything, you know nothing at all. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's like it's good to see as well, especially because I just know fellas I know, be like yourself, Dennis, Jared, a few more fellas from around the county, like, and the what you see on like online and YouTube and Instagram is just like the content you get and the knowledge you get from like what people don't see is like the thousands and thousands you spend on courses and education and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like it's just refreshing really to see so much more people taking that pride in their job, like, you know, in people's health and in coaching. So I think that's excellent. In terms of all of them now together, what are kind of, even though 2020 could be a small bit of a write-off with competitions and stuff, what are the goals for YouTube, let's say, and competing next year or this year?
Yeah. I think like what Alan said, like, because I'm actually going back into prep in June because Alan wants me, because he said that nationals will be going ahead at the end of the year, but like, I don't know, I can't, I don't know if any show will go ahead, like what's going on, this madness in the world. But if he said there and he wants me for other shows, like I just wrote him, I just said name a stage and I'll jump on it, like, you know, I'd love to go jump back in the press. So he wants me back for June, but my goal is to win nationals and Mr. Cork in or get a high place, and that's what I believe in it. With YouTube, I just kind of just go with it really. If I'm there saying I'd love to have 5k subscribers by the end of the year, I just put a lot of pressure on myself. But if you just enjoy doing it, so they come along gradually. Like, just if making videos is a chore to you, it's just gonna turn into a nightmare. Some days I mightn't pick up the camera, and some days I like the camera on all day. So it's just, you know, it's different. I don't really set a goal out on YouTube. I just kind of like doing it, and I do it for my daughter. So it's not like I want to make money off it or anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Unreal. John, I wanna thank you for coming on. Last thing we just kind of ask all our guests is, if there's a younger person now or someone just beginner to the fitness industry getting into training, what would be the biggest piece of advice you would give them?
I would definitely 100% get a coach in it. If not, definitely read books. Ask a coach what good books are to get. I suppose like a lot of young fellas wouldn't have a lot of money for coaches, you know. Nutrition, stay away, like 2 supplements I would recommend would just be whey isolate and creatine monohydrate. They're the only 2. Stay away from fat burners. Take a pre-workout. Like, I can't say not about pre-workouts. I'm a pre-workout junkie myself.
Slabs of Monster.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. So it would definitely be just cracking in your nutrition. Don't be afraid to eat. If you're a really, really thin guy and you want to get shredded, my advice is just glow. I think my advice to a lot of teenagers are, you have a perfect opportunity to grow as much as you can. Don't waste it on thinking that you just want to have abs all the time. Because they have like the newbie games as well. So
yeah,
you know, they have that window just to absolutely grow and eat. Yeah, and smash it. But and don't be afraid to ask people for advice as well that are high up in the industry or that are putting out good knowledge. Because if a person wrote to me about fitness, I'd send them voice notes all day. So you could talk about it all day. You're probably the same yourself, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. So if people are looking to find you on social media or get in touch, or on YouTube, where can they find you? What are your handles?
Yeah, so on Instagram it is John _Fitz_, and then on YouTube it's just John Fitz.
Cool.
They're the kind of only 2 I use. I give up on like Snapchat and Facebook and all that.
Yeah, we're getting a bit old for Snapchat, I think, are we?
Yeah. He was like, "You ever use it?" I was like, "No, I never did."
Cool, man. Thanks for coming on, and lads, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.